everyone. I am hoping that you've been good. Welcome back to my channel. I am just here, thanking God, grateful for life. Let's jump right into it. I have been on the psychiatry rotation from January, and this is a video about mental health and how that affects our everyday life and how that really is important for us. Mental health is really our social, psychological, and emotional well-being, right? How we relate to others, how we relate to our environment, and just how we are able to survive in this everyday world. Yeah. So first is some things that we're not supposed to do as it relates to our mental health. How to maintain good mental health. Some things you have to stay away from: smoking marijuana, smoking cigarettes. These things upturn your mental health. Okay. Drinking alcohol, getting drunk, getting tipsy, those are things that remove your inhibitions, and so that's why a lot of people drive faster, getting harm's way. They're unable to calculate danger. So these are things you're supposed to stay away from. Illicit drugs such as cocaine, heroin, opioids, anything that will basically rob you of your logics, rob you of your inhibitions, be able to think logically and be like, oh no, this is wrong or this is right. Yeah. Anything that causes that blurred line, you're supposed to stay away. Another thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that mental health comes from way back. When I say way back, I mean like from our conception. So there have been studies that show where babies who never received prenatals or mothers who never took folate, their proper vitamins during the conception of the child, are actually more linked to having mental health issues, whether that's ADHD, depression. So the point is, feeding the brain is very important. So another thing, so that's from babyhood growing up, but another thing as well is the environment that children grow up in, right? The environment that children grow up in really shapes their mind. So if it's filled with abuse and aggression, this is going to affect them negatively. Yeah. As anyone would understand, and our minds are really fully developed, the brain itself, by the age of 25. So anybody under 25 is really mentally immature. I hope nobody gets offended, but when you reach 25, the brain itself is developed fully, right? Not saying that the plasticity of it decreases or anything like that, but it develops fully. Fine. Another thing, speaking of children, family history. If your first degree relative, meaning mother, father, sister, brother, has mental illness, there's a very high chance that you can have mental illness too. Then if your second degree relative, like an aunt, a cousin, grandparent, has mental illness, this also increases your chances. Less so than if it was your first degree relative, but once it's in the family, so what you have to be, once it's in the family, you are at risk, right? Higher percentage. So what you have to do, you have to be a good self-monitor. How do I handle stress, right? How do I relate to others when they react, when I think they are being negative towards me, their actions or words towards me are negative. Okay, and these things will help us. Fine. The next, to be a good self-monitor. The last thing I wanted to talk about was the stigma on mental health. To be very honest, I don't think I fully understood the stigma on mental health until I started this rotation, and it really opened my eyes. Fine. And mental health is very personal to me because I have a far cousin in my family. I don't even know, it's not second, I know that, but when people live a country and everybody a cousin, yeah. Something like that. And she was my mom's very close friend, and she had a mental health and she was the person who named me, right? And that was very important to me. Of course, she gave me my name. It was well read, but she had eventually, taken her life, and that piqued my interest, and that's one of the main reasons I wanted to do psychiatry, actually, to kind of understand a little more, and I'm very happy I did. Right. Another thing I wanted to talk about, as I said, was the stigma, but under that, the family members. I'm realizing that a lot of families, they take it very personal. They take what the person is doing very personal to them, not understanding that this person right now is not mentally able or not mentally healthy. So just as if somebody broke their foot and they cannot go to the bathroom and you assist them, it's the same, right? Their brain at the moment is ill. Speaking of the stigma, somebody said to me, so you don't believe in the spiritual side of it? I'm like, yes, I'm an Adventist, and I do believe we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, right? That's in Ephesians. There's something I realized: when somebody's vomiting up blood and they have a bleed in the stomach, nobody say, see our demons. Everybody's like, go to the hospital, make we stop the bleeding, get help. Somebody has hypertension, they'll tell you, no, I'm not to take my tablet because I'm gonna want get a stroke or whatever. So they are always very, very like akin to their other meds, and this is natural. This is a natural illness. But when it comes to a mental illness, no, a obia, somebody will up on the person, a demons, and I'm like, none of us think it's demons when it's these other things. And I'm not saying at all that those things aren't real, but why is it the first thing that we think that it's obvious? So them go for the oil of healing and the oil of this and whatever. And I'm saying, if you think it's demons, right, why would you go to the obia man, who is also, and it's not necessarily a positive thing, he's not coming with good forces, he's also coming with evil forces. So why would you go for evil to ward off evil? Very strange to me. Yeah, but anyways, that's my take. Every time somebody is diagnosed with a mental illness or is not in the capacity to mentally function, the first thing the family thinks is that it is demons. I would like us to move away from that, honestly. Still on the stigma, right? The word mad or crazy, that needs to come out of our vocabulary. There are times when people with kidney disease, the toxins that the kidney is unable to take out of the body literally goes to the brain and they get confused. Nobody thinks they are mad. So why is it do we say somebody is mad or crazy? And the stigma actually hinders people from getting help. So when you meet patients, they'll tell you, I don't want to go to the clinic in my community because people are going to say I'm mad, or I don't want to be coming to the clinic because people are going to say whatever. I don't want the injection, I don't want the pills. And this is my thing: if somebody is trying to get help, there are persons who work at banks, there are persons who work at different places, persons who work in the health sector who take their medication and they function really well, they're fine. Yeah. People will also ask about the side effects, and I will say every single medication you take have side effect. Everyone, but you have a problem taking the pressure medication. You have a problem taking the medication for your stomach. You have a problem taking the medication for your circulation, but you have a problem taking your mental health meds. Right? And we need to look into ourselves. How are we harming Jamaica as a whole? Because if you have people with a mental illness who are on the streets walking up and down and they are not able to get their medication because of what we think of them, because of the bracket we put them in, and it makes them feel, gives them very, very poor inside. They're like, no, I don't have an illness because this person and that person, or I don't want the injection because this and that. We have to move away from that. Our mental health is so important, but because we're such a society that does not believe in counseling, we don't get the help for our children, right? And another thing as well, I have heard students say that they don't like to talk to the guidance counselor because it goes into the teacher's room, and the teachers talk about them and it gets back to them. I'm not attacking anybody, but I'm saying this is what I've heard, that people don't want to talk to the guidance counselor at schools because they talk. And I'm like, no, guidance counselors, it can't be, you know. So take a stop there. That's also something that's refraining people from getting help. They don't feel like they can get help. Another thing is the pastors too. Some people just feel like they can't trust pastors as it relates to going to them with their issues. We need to work on those things, yeah? So students tend to have access to guidance counselors, and people who go to church tend to have access to pastors. I'm gonna say, in order to not have sexual abuse, if you can go into these rooms with someone, that would be good, yeah. So how do we really reclaim our mental health? See a counselor, visit someone, right? If you are ever hospitalized for your mental health, keep on your meds, keep following up with your clinic appointment, rest. So when we rest, our brain actually does not sleep. Our brain continues to work. But what the brain does is remove toxins out of the brain, rejuvenate, go back through the memories that we've seen for the day and be like, throw away this, keep this. It does stock taking. Without that stock taking, that can drive us into a place of, you know, not having good mental health, of being mentally ill. And we need to ensure that we rest. So people who stay up at night and up on the computer and up on the phone, or if you have a job that makes you nocturnal where you have to be awake, whether you're a security guard, whether you're a doctor, whatever, call center, now you have to ensure that you rest. The best time to rest is at night, but if you can't, you try your best to rest the same 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever. Because if you don't sleep at night, you need more time in the day, right? And to be honest, day sleep can replace night sleep, but you try your best, right? Drinking water. Why is drinking water important? Your brain is surrounded by water. If you are dehydrated, one of the first signs of dehydration is a headache. So sometimes some people have headache and them say take a painkiller. No fam, you need to drink some water first. Drink some water and check, am I dehydrated? Have I been drinking my water? So whenever your body is at the point where it doesn't get any water, it takes from the fluid in your brain. Go figure, right? So drinking water is important. In short, back under the wrist, meditate. I'm gonna put a Bible verse here that speaks about meditating. I will meditate on God's word, taking time away to really just be present, be still, and to acknowledge what God has done for you. That helps you too, yeah? The next thing now is to eat healthy. As I was talking about when a woman is pregnant and when she has children, you know, the nutrition there is so important. It actually decide the trajectory. It can decide the trajectory of that child's life, right? So nutrition is very important for us. The bag juice and the soda and the bone and cheese, vegetables, fruits, yeah? Separate and apart from nutrition, exercise. So important. Just as how I said, when you rest, the toxins come out of the brain, right? What happens when you exercise is toxins come out of your body. That's one of the ways, yeah. And when you drink water, you flush out the toxins as well in that way. Once your kidneys are working properly, of course. But when you exercise, toxins come out of your body, yeah. If you allow those toxins to stay in your body, they can, in turn go to the brain and harm the brain as well. And exercise keeps the brain sharp, increases your happy hormones, your serotonins, your endorphins, and you are just happier. It helps, right? Than always being sad or depressed. And it's not that I'm saying that you should avoid your natural emotions such as anger or sadness or whatever. It's how you deal with these. So for example, nothing like a good cry, because actually the cries, if I'm not mistaken, release kind of like a morphine effect. So it releases those hormones that make you feel relaxed afterwards. That's why you feel like that. There are specific neurotransmitters that are released after we cry, right? And it just dulls our pain, right? Yeah, so nothing like a good cry. However, if I cry too much, then something wrong, everything in balance. So sadness, we're humans, we're gonna be sad. Somebody died for us or something, like a life event, we can be sad. But depression, so we need to, as I say, be a self-monitor. Realize if you're always angry, always irritated, or self-monitor. We need to find out what's happening, find a counselor, yeah. And in the relaxation and the rest, get some sunlight, it aids with your vitamin D and just helping you to be happier and healthier. The sunlight also aids with the circadian rhythm and the sleep. So when you see the sun directly, it goes to, the center of the brain that helps with maintaining your sleep cycle. Ensure you get your rest. So those people who work at night and then work at night, so you leave your house basically in the evening when sun setting, and you leave work before sunrise. You're not really seeing the sun. You have to make an effort to see the sun. All right. I wanted to leave you with John 3:1 verse 2. Beloved, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health. Right? Even as your soul prospers. So sometimes we talk about prosperity, we want to talk about money and things that we have. But here in the Bible, it's talking about good health. And that has to do with your mental health too. Yeah? So I leave you with that. Take care of your mental health today. I never realized how fragile our mental health is until I did this rotation. And just to recap, if you have a family member with mental health, just be a little more kind. I know it's stressful. I know it's straining on those surrounding the person, but just imagine the person, right? And a lot of times, because of the lack of support and nobody is assisting them in going to taking their meds or going to their clinic, they don't want to follow up. But good support usually equals good outcome. Yeah. And another thing, sometimes when the person feels better, they will be like, oh, I don't need to follow up at the clinic, or I don't need to take my meds because I'm okay now. It's the same thing with if you have high blood pressure, you don't stop taking your tablet because your pressure is normal. If your pressure is low, okay, but if your pressure is normal, you don't stop taking the tablet, because if you don't, more than likely it's going to shoot back up, right? Or you don't stop taking the meds or whatever methods you're using. You don't, because the pressure is normal, you don't just go to a high salt diet because, oh, all right, we didn't want the KFC, but because the pressure did high, we couldn't have it, but no, it's normal, you still continue on that good diet, on that good trajectory. So it's the same. If they feel better, they shouldn't stop. So you should encourage them, right? And yeah, have a good day. Remember to like, share, subscribe, comment down below, tell a friend, all right? And have a good day, everyone. As I said, I wish you prosper and be in good health, all right? Holistically. Have a good one.